Hello, world, and welcome to the For Your Best Self podcast. I'm cosmetic dermatologist Dr. Saluja, and today I'm proud and pleased to host Kerry Hamilton-Gannaway, co-owner and operator of Mayweather Boxing and Fitness.
It's both.
And
Yes.
also, thankfully, my personal fitness professional. Kerry, tell me a little bit about fitness professional and what that is.
I appreciate you asking me that question because it's I feel after 35 years I've kind of earned that little right of saying fitness professional. I feel a lot of times, fitness professional is somebody that has dived into all aspects of fitness business, management, personal training, group exercise, knows how to run a fitness business. There is a business of fitness and is vast and $1 billion business. Personal training is just one piece of it. So I am a fitness professional with 35 years of experience in all aspects of that.
What led you here? So, obviously I know you through the personal training aspect, but what led you to this journey, and why do we want to listen to the rest of the podcast?
Okay, that's a big one. So I'll take it into little chunks. I was a music major who wasn't actually able to didn't have a lot of time for sports, but I loved exercise. I was a big Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta a fan, and wanted to be an aerobics instructor when I was younger. And I became an aerobics instructor teaching step aerobics when I was 17. First gym membership was when I was 13, right? And my first job was at a gym called Let's Get Physical. That does
perfect.
age me, right? It ages me a little bit. But yeah, I just enjoyed getting out there and kind of cheering people on, even though I wasn't, because of a voice major, I wasn't able to actually go and cheer. So it started that, and I fell in love with it.
Very neat. Very neat. What brought you to Mayweather Boxing?
Okay, a good question as well. Another chunk, right?
Yeah, from aerobics.
Right.
And singing to...
Yeah, there was a big gap in between, right? So personal training, I started managing studios. Boutique fitness studios became very popular like 13 years ago with the kind of launch of Orange Theory Fitness. And I was a part of that brand for about 5 years and loved it. Loved the ability to not just personal train, but group train in a personal training feel, make impact on people's lives. So I was in that boutique space for a bit. My husband and I started helped develop a workout in New York City called Grit Boxing. And so he was responsible for education and programming, and I was helping him program that. And then along came COVID. New York City shut down, so did our career with that job, and we became consultants, personal training again, and got into that boxing fitness space. Along came Mayweather. He became a consultant for them. Now director and educator for them, and now I'm a co-owner, and I love what I'm doing. It's an amazing opportunity to make impacts on people's lives.
Is there anything unique about boxing as it relates to fitness or its benefits?
Totally. I think a lot of people, especially women, like to think of it as a violent sport. But for me, as a boxing fitness enthusiast, because it's both, right? We're not sparring, we're not hitting people, right? But we're able to let go. And we're able to release stress and tension. The workout goes very quickly because of that. And it's almost like chess, physical chess, because you're having to think about combinations, the left and right side of your brain, footwork, defense work. So it is a lot, and it can feel like a lot mentally. So when you leave tired, but invigorated. So it's quite the dichotomy of feelings with that. And you feel good and confident. And for women, I feel it's a confidence booster, and they leave kind of having a secret weapon behind them, but their shoulders are taller. And it's just a good vibe, and it's a community. And that's a big piece of why I do what I do as well.
Yeah, I think community helps keep the motivation going.
Yeah, it's part of that extrinsic motivation, right? We have cheerleaders that are around us and beside us, all working hard. There's that motivation to keep going. But ultimately, we need that intrinsic motivation, which is a huge piece too of longevity and sustainability in the fitness, health and fitness.
When someone hasn't been exercising or did exercise and then fell off the bandwagon, what are some tips in restarting or maintaining it through times of stress? We know it all relieves stress, but making time for it.
Making time for it. That's part of that intrinsic. But where are you going to find that, right? Accountability partners are huge. So that's why I love, if you start with a personal trainer, it doesn't have to be a long lasting thing. Even if you just have accountability through a group of people that train, like group training, you find a professional who has credentials, has experience in your age group and your unique needs, right? And I say that because one of the best things that kind of came out, in my opinion, from COVID is a lot of people were bored and didn't have a lot to do, and they all of a sudden became fitness professionals in their mind, but they really just are exercise enthusiasts without the credentials. They just post a lot about it. But there are a lot of things that come.
That's similar, just like there's skin enthusiasts.
I was going to say
that.
That
dermatologists, but
I
they
actually
post a lot about
down.
it.
They do, right? So it seems like we have that in common. We have a lot of parallels in our careers, right? Like it's aesthetics, but it's not aesthetics. It's about how we make people feel. And so that's such a true parallel between what we do. And also we're battling the popularity of certain things that seem like, oh, well, that's easy to do. I can do that. It's just putting needles in people's faces. How hard can that be? But if you've ever worked with like it's so different when you have a true professional who knows the musculature and the how your face is unique and your body is unique. And that's how if you're 40 and up, you come with certain aches and pains, and you have so many hours of life, and knees might not be the same. So if you're 20 years old and you're training someone who's 40 or 50, you don't even have that empathetic knowledge.
Oh, yes. Yes. No, I do think there's really nothing that beats training and experience. Mm-hmm. And then when you are coming, someone like me, I'm coming with back pain and neck pain. And sometimes I just didn't sleep. And I think having the accountability, knowing you're going to be there, even if it's a light workout that I'm requesting, or I'm asking for, please don't push me too hard. I think that I still got something out of it because I came out feeling that I took care of myself, and that I had some endorphins going, and that maybe next week I will feel better and I will be able to push a little bit harder.
Right. So accountability is huge. And a lot of times when, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's one of the things last week when we talked about that, it was a light bulb moment for me, because I felt like I listened to what you said, and for me to kind of pull back on what my intuition is, or not intuition, but what I normally would do is, it's not a goal-oriented.
Oh, when I said that my whole life is goal-oriented, I want to come and work out just for me, but I don't want pressure, or I don't want to feel like I have to reach a goal, or that I'm in a competition, because for me, this is my downtime, my self-care time. So I want to do my best, but in a way that feels like I'm not disappointing anyone by not meeting some.
And it really, to me, that made me feel so good that you trusted that space and you were vulnerable at that moment to tell me that. And being vulnerable is anybody that walks into a gym.
It is. Yes.
Anybody that comes to me and, they're coming to me with, probably not feeling their best. And another parallel as well with our careers is we want to feel better. We want to, maybe not just aesthetically, but it's internally, we want to feel better about ourselves when we look in the mirror. And I feel like we do that for people, I just do it with muscles, but also emotional, right? To be happy is important.
Much of it is mindset. If someone is on the look for a fitness professional or a personal trainer or an exercise class, what should they look for? Anything we should be
Good
looking?
question. Yes. Again, come where you're at with the mindset that you are not maybe an Olympic athlete at the moment, right? You're trying to have your why. What is your why? So we talked about this a little bit. In my 20s, my why of exercise may not have been what it is now, right? I was 20 and I wanted the aesthetics. I wanted to look the part. And when I became in my 40s, I had a child again. So I have 23, 21, and an 8-year-old. So in my 40s, I was pregnant having a child. But it also changed my why drastically. My why now is to live longer. So where are you showing up? If you're in your 20s and you want to be stronger, if you want to look a certain way, that you might be finding, you might want to find somebody who is more sports specific. If you're in your 40s and up, find somebody who has the knowledge of how a body works, may not be pushing you to do, things outside of your body's comfort zone, right? And understands hormones. Somebody who understands how hormones affect your body, your mood, your energy, and also orthopedically, how knowledgeable they are.
No,
So
that makes sense. Do you advise people on nutrition or what they should eat while, in this process?
I do advise. We're in a state where that's pretty much all I can do is advise. Nutrition is a thumbprint. It's individual to everybody. It's individual to what their likes, what they grew up with, and also internally what their gut
Does it matter if someone eats before working out?
Yes.
Or should they or not?
I have a lot of people that come in and they haven't eaten, and it's like trying to, the old analogy, you're going to drive a car without gasoline in it.
So,
I think food is such the biggest piece, though. Eat for your activity is what I generally tell people. Carbohydrates are your friend. Eat things that come from the earth. Try to avoid processed foods. I mean, we all know. Let's not kid around. We all know what we should and shouldn't eat. We're not, we're not ignorant in that way.
What do you eat before you go work out?
I'm always looking for a complex carbohydrate.
Okay.
And afterward, I'm always looking for protein.
Okay.
But I'm pretty much always searching for protein as an older woman.
Okay.
I'm always trying to fight the sarcopenia, which is that, your body's going to lose muscle mass. But I also want, to have muscle, and I'm not scared of having it. It's the anti-age. The secret to anti-aging is having muscle and strong bones, and you can only do that through weight training and feeding your body the protein. So I know a lot of people are really confused about it, and I'm down with intermittent fasting, but I'm also really into intuitive eating.
If we're going to Mayweather to box,
Mm-hmm.
what else then is there weight training?
Yes.
There as well.
Yes.
Is there high intensity interval training as well?
It's
are
all
there
of
other
it.
classes?
That's
Okay.
all of it. It's boxing, which is great for core, muscular endurance. Then there's also the weight training and the fitness side of it. So you'll get a little bit of everything. It'll move pretty quickly. It'll be over before you know it, and you'll feel great. I do say, though, that I'd like to supplement a little bit of weight training on top of it. So I'll do Mayweather workouts maybe 3 times a week, and then I'll pop in 2 to 3 times a week of maybe 20 minutes of like basic stuff, squats, overhead presses, bicep curls.
And can you do that there?
Absolutely. They have all of it there. And we do the personal training as well. So if you want to just do special focus on certain things, if you have orthopedic issues or fitness goals that you want to meet and you need a little bit more, we have that as well.
Is there such a thing as too much working out? I sometimes, we talk about people not working out enough, but sometimes I have people that it seems like they're coming from the gym, they're going to the gym, they're coming, they're going, they're constantly moving.
It's is there such thing as too much filler? There's
Yes.
too much. Yes, there's sometimes too much of everything. There's got to be balance. And then that goes back to the why. Like, why are they doing that? Some people do work out too much because they're running from things, or it just feels good, or they need that dopamine dopamine release, right? And they're always searching that. It could be replacing something else. They could be avoiding certain things. It's too much when it starts to damage your muscle, when you start to have issues with your bones and ligaments, and yet you still continue to do it. You see them like KT taped and they've got braces on every part of their body, but they keep shoveling in. I do believe that it can be detrimental. There's a fine line. There can be food addiction, there can be beverage addiction, there can be aesthetic addiction. People, just don't have that cutoff. So yeah, I see it, I've seen it, and I'm pretty much sure that if you go into any gym across the world, you'll see at least 1 to 2 people that are there 2 to 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
what is recommended?
I believe that you have to get uncomfortable at least 20 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a week. And I say uncomfortable, like we have to sweat. Okay. I feel like we're really in a place where we're seeking homeostasis, right? Where we need the perfect temperature of the mattress. We need a perfect temperature in the room. We're comfortable. And my whole life is built around making people uncomfortable. I try to get people to accept and embrace how being uncomfortable can actually be a positive thing. So you see things like infrared saunas and cryotherapy. I mean, environmental, changes and discomfort is something that we've pushed away, but physical discomfort, like we don't even, COVID shut down, like even getting out of the car and walking up to the office. We don't do it. So movement across the board has changed. So we have to seek that out. And the more that we do that, the more that we'll start to feel joy and happiness, which is sustainable. That's what we want. So get uncomfortable 3 to 4 times a week at least.
I want to go back to the boxing really quickly. Is the place for women besides personal training? Or is there?
Yes.
Is it mixed? How does that?
My community, I think, has the most diverse group of people I've seen in a really long time, especially in a boutique space. Because when you think about group fitness, what comes to mind? Women.
Yes.
Women. But I think we're at 50-50 right now, the men and women. It is great. And we have a lot of couples because men are down with coming to a boxing class, but they may not be down with going to other
so it
group
can
fitness.
Be a couple activity as well.
So great. So my husband and I call it like a fitness date night because, when I hear people say, oh, it's too expensive, but then they're going to go out to dinner and they're going to drop $150 because they had a bottle of wine, appetizer, dessert, and 2 meals.
Right.
That's like a membership or 2,
Right.
And so you could have date night 2 nights a week where
you should do Friday night date night.
Every night's date night at Mayweather. We have it every night. We're so open to it. And because
I love one of my favorite things about it is I love the lighting.
Yeah.
It's dim and it doesn't bother my eyes.
Right.
So I can just work out without bright good music, but dark lights.
Room. I don't want, and not a lot of mirrors.
And not a lot of mirrors.
Because I don't want motivational quotes, not a lot of mirrors. It's because it's about what we feel like, not what we look like.
Yeah.
It's huge, but yeah, date night at Mayweather's sounds amazing.
Do you advise people to set goals, and what are realistic goals? Is goal setting helpful in this?
And I'll go back to how it is to start with a workout, right? It's your why. Find your why, write it down, put it in writing. I am starting this exercise program because if it's just like I have a wedding and I'm trying to lose 10 pounds, well, that eventually that's going to come and go, right? So then what?
A new why.
That. Keep getting your whys. Like if that's your goal, great. What's next? Why? Then goal setting has to be realistic. And you have to have it written down. You have to tell somebody, and there has to be an accountability partner. And that's why the boutique space and paying for it. I know this sounds crazy, but if you're not paying for it, like if I gave you guys free memberships,
it would be worse.
It would not have no value. You would have no value in it because it was free. If I charge you, right, then I
Yeah,
think
you
that
assign value.
you're like, okay, well, I'm paying for this. I need to show up, and we're going to want you to show up because we're holding you just paid for us to keep you accountable. So
Right.
boutique fitness isn't like bougie fitness. It's we're making people hold value.
Yeah,
And
they matter, so you know if they came or didn't
absolutely.
come.
Yeah. And
so
we
it
want you
makes
to come. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have you paid for a crunch like a gym membership, like big box, right? And you don't go.
Yeah.
And you realize 2 years later you've been paying and maybe a minimal amount.
Yeah.
And you don't seem like, it's just $20 a month. But you're paying for it and you're not using it. And no one's reaching out to say, hey, Anita, where are you?
Right. Yeah. It's
But we are.
It's the community. It's the
It is.
relationship. It
Love
does
that.
matter. When you're saying it's 50-50, do men and women have to train differently?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. And actually, that's what I love about it. They're not training differently. We are all the same in that space. We all are there for one purpose in that space. The community is part of that extrinsic, but it turns into an intrinsic motivator because you want to be around those people. And then when you start to feel good about yourself, then you become that person for somebody else. So it just cannonballs. It just allows you to help support other people. And you can't feel bad about yourself if you're helping others.
It's absolutely true.
You can't. So
It's absolutely. They say so. There's so much self-help out there right now, but truthfully, if there was more help others out there, then less self-help would be
absolutely.
needed.
That's why I find that where we are now with Mayweather Boxing Fitness or, groups, you have to, we can't be, we're not secluded anymore. Get out there, be around people, even if it's
the
hard.
social part of exercise has a lot of benefits too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I know there was a lot of fear before.
Yeah, sometimes I will go just to see someone.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to see you, even if I don't want to work out, or I'm going to see, the instructor in that class or the people in the class
who wants
around
to
me.
work out? Like if everyone wanted to work out and get uncomfortable, my job wouldn't be as hard as it is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If it was that easy, but I always just say, I'm so proud of you because you show up. I know how busy you are, but thank you for taking the time for you, not for me. You're not showing up for me. You're showing up for you. And if someone can just put their shoes on, put the tennis shoes and the just shorts and just drive to the parking lot, just get to the parking lot. Even if you're cussing the entire way, you don't want to do it. You just show up. As soon as you're 5 minutes into it, you're going to be glad you did.
That's true.
It makes everything else go away.
So summer's around the corner, right? In January, everybody's all excited,
Mm-hmm.
but summer's around the corner. What do you suggest when people are traveling? Like to stay and not fall off the bandwagon because, the community's not there. You're in different spaces.
Yeah.
Sometimes hotel gyms are awful and not in dark spaces, not in a good way.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you?
I'll tell you what I do. When I travel, I picking out hotels. I pick them out for the gyms or what's around me, a park or a boutique studio around me or a fitness gym around me. I am looking at that. That's a key thing for me.
So it's part of your planning.
It is part of the planning, and then it's the room. Like I'm not going to be in the bed as long as I am going to be outside of the space, and I know I need to work out. So going and finding a gym around me, drop-in fees for $10 to $20. Go try a new class somewhere. If you're in a bigger city, like try a Soul Cycle or something that's going to get you excited because it is an experience. So if we start to reframe what fitness looks like and make it not a chore, but make it an experience, like going to a museum, you're going to see the coolest people and meet people that are like-minded, and you're going to feel better. Like it's the best thing you can do for yourself. So pick a vacation that is both relaxing, but what does that mean? Like, is relaxing just sitting around the room, or is relaxing trying yoga or trying a salt room or a spin class? What does that look like to you? But try to reframe that. But also, I'm a big okay, I don't have a gym. what am I going to do? I'm going to take the stairs at least 20 times. If they have that and it's not shady or, going to put my life at risk. If not, I will do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats, 20 jumping jacks, and do that 5 times.
I was just going to ask you, what are 5 things
Yeah,
five
absolutely.
exercises you can do?
Easy. Yeah. I mean, push-ups and body weight. I always used to laugh that I could literally kick someone's butt physically on a yoga mat. They wouldn't have to move. It's just right there. Body weight training, squats, lunges, stretching, moving your body, get sweaty, and, have fun with it. Enjoy the feeling of your body. We are the lucky ones that get to move and not to take that for granted.
Let's say you've started this fitness routine and now your muscles are sore. And sore, then, some sore is good, but you're trying to, how can you either minimize the soreness or reduce how long it lasts? That's some of getting older.
Water.
Okay.
Lots of it.
Water. Okay.
Lots of water. There's some amino acids that you can take that help like BCAAs. I'm not a huge supplement girl, but it does help with some of the delayed onset muscular soreness. It's totally typical. If you're working out, here's another good way of finding someone to train with, making sure that they hear you. If their goal is to crush you, run. Run, because that's not the goal. There's going to be muscle breakdown. You're going to get sore. Our bodies are going to feel what we've done. If it lasts past 2 days, you've gone too far. It should not last more than 2 days. First day, a little sore. Second day, you're probably going to be a little more sore. Move your body. Keep moving. Hydration, protein, and but to keep moving. That's going to be the thing. Don't sit around.
I know one of the things you wanted to talk about was joy. Tell us what you want us to leave with regarding joy.
Joy. That's a huge passion for me. And like I said, I've spent my life basically making people uncomfortable physically, right? But in the end, my goal is, and my quote when I coach people in groups is, my job is to believe in you more than you believe in you until you believe in you. And when that happens, when you start to have that confidence because you're doing something that you didn't think that you could do, right? Whether it be a squat jump, or a push-up or a pull-up, that success, that your body and nobody else, that brings you happiness, right? Or can bring you happiness. For you, just showing up brings you joy, happiness. It makes you feel better about yourself. So in turn, we continue to do that. It is that one thing, the catalyst for sustainable fitness, movement, living longer, dying quick at the end without long-lasting health issues of the last 5 to 10 years of our life, right? And to be joyful, it's contagious. It makes you feel good, and then your family feels better. You're a better employee. You're a better mate. You're a better sibling or mom or dad. And then we're better to strangers. You know those people that are joyful. It exudes off them, and you don't know what it is. What are they taking something or but they're just happy people. And it's energy and it's palpable. And I want that. I want to share that piece. I feel like that's something that is important.
That's special.
It is.
To you. You were just talking about aging and, sort of not being as, being fit throughout life. How do you accommodate for somebody older at the gym? Or how should a fitness professional accommodate, or how, I imagine if it's scary for me to walk in, it might be even
more scary
if I was 75
right.
or 80 or 85 or 90.
Absolutely. And I think the first thing is making them feel comfortable and making them feel that what they're doing is not, their age isn't going to be a factor. I think as we get older, for sure, and I have this. I'm 50, and I feel sometimes I can't do that because I'm my age. I'm already starting to do it. So I can imagine at 60 and 70 years old when just getting up out of the couch hurts and your bones are cracking. And but just to let them know that they are doing the best thing that they can for their body. which is moving, and they're adding years to the life, and they can do it. You know, they have that can-do attitude, that they are capable and they're doing something amazing for themselves. So after that, it's making sure that you listen, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a good listener as an instructor and then not to push them too hard. Let them gradually bloom where they're planted. Everyone shows up. Their seed is planted, you water it, you coach it, you talk to them, and you lift them up, and eventually they've bloomed. So,
is there anything that we haven't covered that you think it's important for our listeners to know?
I think it's really important to think about what it is you want for your physical self in the most realistic way. And again, I go back to that why. And then really reach out to other friends that have that like-mindedness. When we start to elevate ourselves and do things great for ourselves, there are always going to be people, maybe, I don't want to say always, let me rephrase that. There may be people in your lives that don't understand why you want to do better for yourselves, and they may be sabotagers. Really listen to your heart. And really try to find joy in exercise, find joy in being uncomfortable, find joy in sweating, and try to bring people with you. Always lifting yourself up and lifting others up so you can make yourself feel good.
That's a great message. If our listeners would like to learn more, how do they best reach you?
Well, you can always stop by the studio off Wickham Road and close to Pineda, Mayweather Boxing Fitness in Melbourne. You can also email me at Kerry, KERRY.Sullivan@Mayweather.fit, or you can call the studio, 321-348-9855. I'm always here, always really available for people because I'm here for changing people's lives and making people happy.
Yeah, your authenticity in what your joy in what you do shows.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending time with us today. It's been an honor to have you, and maybe we'll do a part 2 soon.
I would love that. Thanks, Anita.
Thanks, everyone.